Hello, welcome back to another video. I actually recorded this one, but it took way too long, so now I'm re-recording it, and hopefully I have enough storage on my phone to actually record all of the top-down footage that I need to record, because it gave up on me last time. But today I'm going to be going over all of my favorite art supplies, mainly focusing on traditional art supplies because you can only talk about digital tools so much, but I will talk a little bit about all that. But this is a kind of follow-up slash remake of a video I made my senior year of high school where I did a lot more traditional focused art, and I've gotten a lot more new supplies since then. I've gotten a lot pickier. I've just learned a lot more things, so I figured I would make a new video about it because it's fun and I like giving recommendations because, just heads up, I am not sponsored by any of the brands here. Even though I wish I was. Honestly, every single thing I'm going to show you in this video, even if I critique it, I fully endorse all of this stuff. I think it's all really great supplies, or I wouldn't show it. I very much miss the days of the internet where you got a lot more unpaid reviews, whereas everything seems to be paid now, so everyone says really great things about really bad stuff. And I'm very picky about my art supplies, and I'm very picky about where my money goes, so if this is out in a timely manner and you guys are still like looking for ideas of stuff you want for like holidays and stuff, maybe stay tuned because I got some good recommendations. This may be basic stuff though. I kind of only use basics. I'm very keen on not wasting people's money, so yeah. So we're just gonna get right into it. And the first thing I have to show you guys is my iPad, and these are all the stickers I have on it. This was from, I believe, a German artist on Etsy. I got it for free, and I just put it on my iPad. And I don't really want anything on this front case here, because I just don't. But on the back, we have my sticker from the Ethel Cain vinyl, 2 stickers from New Hampshire, a Misato in a plug suit sticker by, I think, Kaito-kun art. I'll try to include their username here because I have another sticker from them as well. This is a sticker, and I don't know the artist's name, but it's from the Maine College of, I think it's the Maine College of Art and Design. It's from their, I don't know what the word is, but I wanted to say propaganda, but like the stuff they give out to get you to want to come to their schools. They have a little sticker book that comes with it, and this sticker is so good. I wish I could see the real painting because it's amazing. And then I got so desperate to have a Tameka sticker that I printed this out on paper and just covered it in tape and put it on my iPad because I really like her. Okay, so not in a creepy way at all, but when you open my iPad, you will also see Tameka. This is a commission that my boyfriend purchased as a gift for our first anniversary, and I've loved it ever since. It's always been like, it feels uncomfortable for it to not be the background of my computer or my iPad, and I've tried to have different backgrounds, but I love it so much. So opening my iPad, this is what you will see. For some reason there's a issue with my Pinterest home feed widget, but we're gonna ignore it. And then I have this other page. I like having a lot of stuff to see. I like having a bunch of different inspiration right here on my front page, where I have my Procreate widget, and then I have 2 Pinterest widgets available. I believe these are both my artboard, just at different parts so that they don't see the same work. And then this is a fan art. This is my fan art board. And then this is a home feed one, and this is a home feed one, but they're not working. So the 2 apps I want to talk about on my iPad are Procreate and VizRef, and I use Procreate as my main software, so we'll talk about that first. Opening the widget, it just shows you the staged last thing I opened, because I wanted to show you guys how I use my digital sketchbook. Obviously I use Procreate for finished illustrations like you see here, and like some other works and spoilers, some other works and stuff, but I have this digital sketchbook thing because whenever I'm planning an illustration, I don't like opening a new canvas and like sketching on it because it feels really big and it feels like I can't thumbnail properly. So digitally what I do is I have this whole thing, and so this is using the page assist feature, if it'll load. The issue with doing this is that it takes a little while to buffer when you want to open stuff up because it's such a beefy canvas, but this is a page assist feature. I shouldn't have hit the canvas information. Yeah. I created this on July 1st. I've had almost 60 hours in here, because this is mainly what I draw in, is this digital sketchbook. But if you don't know how you do it, you can use the page assist feature, and then how you use colors and stuff or add things is you just group all the layers you want together, and that group will be a page. So you can see that sometimes I have this paper texture, sometimes I don't. You know, you could do all this cool stuff. And so yeah, definitely make sure you use the grouping feature, because I didn't know about that for such a long time, and once I figured that out, I started doing this method, and it makes me feel a lot better, because I can just doodle in here, or I can plan illustrations, or like this was a failed one because the artist said, this is the original artist right here, made this fan art of paprika, and I made a little spin on it because other people were doing it, and then they said they don't want people doing that. And I'm a little sad, but I get it, so I'm not doing it. And then, yeah. So you can just do all this cool stuff in Procreate. And some of my favorite brushes I have in this custom, like, I sorted it out into this custom thing just so that I can grab them all. My favorite brush I ever use is the default hard airbrush from Procreate, just their default like airbrushes in general I love. I edited the round brush a little bit. I don't really know what I did. I just kind of made it a little bit smoother, so I genuinely do not know what I changed, but yeah, I think everything changed in here. Ooh, I don't know where I did. Okay, whatever. But yeah, so I just went through the settings so that you guys can see that. Some of my favorite brushes from other artists are the greasy pencil. Procreate has this glitch where it makes like a duplicate of my brushes now, and it'll be like the same pencil, but it'll have original underneath. So these are made by W. Wowley. So just search up greasy pencil Procreate, and I believe I downloaded it for free. You may have to pay for them now. If you do have to pay for them, they're 100% worth it. I really love. This entire page actually was done with that pencil. It gives that airbrush feel where it's like really thick and beautiful, but it's a nice little pencil texture for when I want something with a little bit more grit rather than the really smooth, that's not even, yeah, like you can get these really smooth lines with it, but this is all the hard airbrush, rather than like the airbrush like this. That was like an adoptable whip, I think. But some other brushes that I like, I paid for all of the Ayup's brushes. So her Procreate brush pack and then the Everything brush. I believe those brushes are 100% worth it as well. They have really beautiful texture. And yeah, I just have some other, I've had all these brushes for so long now that I don't really know most of them. But yeah, so that's done talking about my iPad. The model of this is the 2024 13-inch, or the 2024 iPad Pro 13-inch with the M4 chip. So this thing is insane and beefy, and I love it, and it can handle everything I need to do with it. What do you mean I've been recording for 10 minutes? Okay, I need to be faster. So, next things I want to talk about is my main sketchbook. This is an Arteza 8x5 by 5.5 sketchbook. It's really great. I've used these for years. Just showing some stuff. If you've seen me work in a sketchbook on this channel, it's been these ones. The 3 main sketchbook tour videos that I've done have been for these. I do have some issues with their quality. Like, for example, I can't really use these like during the summer because I think my batch specifically was wrong, or maybe I use too much watercolor when I paint and it feels like they absorb a lot more moisture than they're supposed to. The pages feel very mushy when it's warm out, whereas in the winter everything's super dry. So the pages are a lot more easy to use for some reason. I don't understand it at all, but we're just gonna roll with it. I really like hardbound sketchbooks specifically, and I don't know, I'm just so specific about it that I'm really scared for when I finish this sketchbook and I move on what I'm gonna use next, because As much as I feel like I hate this sketchbook, I also really love it because it can handle so many mediums. Like just look at this first page. Well, I guess not, that's a different piece of paper. But it can handle graphite beautifully. I love working with pencils in it. It works with like ink beautifully. The thing is that the paper is very textured and very rough, so it will dry out microns really fast, and the I'll talk about it a little bit later, but the G-nib that I use will scratch up the paper from how rough the paper is, and it will cut it up. But this is all done with micron. But it handles watercolors, and this page right here is acrylic ink actually, but it can handle so many layers and so many different mediums that I truly believe this is like a jack of all trades of a sketchbook. You can use it for anything. I've used charcoal in them before in my school sketchbook, and it's just a really great multimedia thing. Next, I have my class sketchbook for this semester. This is for my illustration 2 and 2D design class, and it's just a standard Canson mixed media. This is another really great sketchbook, but I don't think I have to say too much because I feel like every artist has used a Canson mixed media sketchbook. This one can handle a little bit of water mediums. I really like how it feels with graphite. It's a little bit smoother than the Arteza hardbound paper, but you can still get some nice texture out of the pencils, and it's just a really smooth kind of paper to use. Not necessarily like the paper is actually smooth, but it just feels smooth in a way, you know? It's just a really great sketchbook for me to get practices in or get like quick ideas out or just do simple like studies. Here you can see what the acrylic ink looks like in this sketchbook, and it definitely warps the page a little bit more than it does in my Arteza sketchbook, but it's all good, man. Here's actually another page of practicing with the ink so you can see how vibrant the coloring is, and I will show you the inks later, I promise. They're my favorite new art supplies. But yeah, I recommend every artist have like a sketchbook they keep things nice in and a sketchbook they kind of have a lot of more rough work in. Just because I'm the type of artist that I like having a nice sketchbook. I like having one that's really, really pretty. So it's really important for me to have a place to kind of fool around with traditional art-wise as well. Kind of like my principles with digital media, where it's like I don't like using my iPad fully for finished illustrations. It doesn't feel good. It got me into a really bad art slump a couple years back, but when I started using a digital sketchbook, I started liking my art so much more because I could do so much more simple stuff. And I don't feel like I'm ruining my sketchbook or ruining the quality of my illustrations. Because I have its own separate little space. So I always recommend having another sketch. While I'm talking about paper mediums, I'm actually going to talk about these watercolor boards. And I'm going to talk about these specifically because I bought these watercolor boards for my final project that I might mention a couple more times throughout this video for my illustration 2 class. Now, these are very thick boards, and they're cold press, so they're kind of, I prefer cold press over hot press. Hot press is really smooth, cold press kind of has a little more texture to it, but I'll show you guys some of the work that I'm doing. My final for my illustration 2 class is to do 8 finished illustrations on board, and I chose watercolor board because I am not like most of our students that stick with gouache. I prefer watercolor, and I prefer acrylic ink, which is what I'm using. These are the 2 that I have done right now. So you can see that I used so much water with these, and the ink I use isn't even waterproof, which is the crazy part. You can see a little bit of bleeding sometimes, but this ink is so good when you just leave it alone for a couple days. You can paint over it, and I will talk about that later. But I have some more I have some more boards that like I use ink with, and they're just a really beautiful medium to use if you want to do some more serious illustrations. And I don't want to talk about them too much because I definitely think I'm going to have some more videos coming out. I've been recording the speed paints in my class, but I don't really have like a vlog going on. I just have all these speed paints on my phone. Actually, they're on an SD card. I deleted them off my phone because they were clogging up my storage space. But yeah, so the brand is Crescent Creative. I got these on Amazon. Each of these 3 packs is $11, which is kind of steep. especially because my teacher gives out the other board that she wanted us to use, but I bought these specifically because last year my boards warped and I didn't want that. So 8 by 10, quite small but pretty bearable. They fit in my backpack quite nicely. So that's the stuff that I'm using for class right now. And next thing, I'm going to get into my pencil case. This is the brand says joinpro on it. I don't know if you can see from there, but I just got this thing on Amazon. I love it because it's got a handle and it's got 2 compartments, and I use those compartments very differently. It's a very thick sketchbook. I keep all of my erasers in this pouch here, and the most important of them is my Pentel high polymer eraser. I got a pack of like 6 of these in like 8th grade, and I still haven't used all of them. I have like 3 left. I said the exact same thing in my old video. Do you know how if you need to get some erasers, get the high polymer Pentel ones. They're really great. And then I have this Faber-Castell kneaded eraser. This is my favorite art supply, I think. I hate fully erasing a sketch, but I hate how thick, or I hate how dark the pencil can get when I need to line it. I need it to be a much lower opacity. So I really like this kneaded eraser because you just roll it on top and it takes away most of that graphite, but you still have some to look at. And then the rest of the stuff in here is like some ink and some more specialty erasers. Like I have a black eraser for some reason, and then I have a sandpaper eraser for when I mess up on those boards if I need to scratch a layer away. I thankfully haven't had to use it yet. Next I'll talk about these in a second. I have all these microns. I don't think I have to say much about micron. They're a great, like, you can see how many different sizes I use and how many duplicates, because like I am not about to get stuck with a dry micron. That's the worst pain ever. Microns are just a great reliable line art tool. They are my favorite pen. I know there are other kinds that you can use, but I just stay with the micron because I've been using them forever and I love them. They've never failed me. They're waterproof. They have all these different thicknesses, so you can like layer up the line weight, which is my art style, like fully dependent on that. So there isn't too much to say other than they're incredibly reliable and I love them. I have this Ecoline brush pen in the color that it is. Reddish brown, that's what it says. And I got this from Jerry's Artorama because they come to my community college sometimes and give out free art supplies at the beginning of the school year so that they can like be like, hey, we're doing a back to school sale, you should buy from us. And I eat it up every time. I also have this Pentel brush pen. It's really amazing. I need to get some refills because this thing has saved my butt so many times. It is not waterproof. Found that out the hard way. So if you're going to use watercolor, use this last, but it's really handy to have, especially when you don't have a lot of ink to use or you're stingy with your ink like me and you don't want to like use all of it. I have these scissors in here for when I need scissors. I think that's obvious. There's a Sharpie. I'll talk about that ink in a second. But going to my pencils, some of these are very obvious. I have an X-Acto knife. I have a couple lead pencils. My favorite is this Uni Curatoga 0.5 pencil. That camera won't pick it up, but I hope this one does. But I just got this, I believe, from Jerry's Artorama. It's just a great, reliable pencil. I have another 0.5. I have 2 eraser pens, which are really great for going in with fine details and erasing them. And then I have a 2mm lead holder. It's just a standard Staedtler one. And 2mm lead is really great to work with when you need some thicker lines and stuff, some thicker pencil drawings. I really like using it in that big sketchbook because it's just so big that it really helps really helps fill up that space. And then the lead I have for that is a bit different. I have some B lead, I have HB lead, and then I have colored lead, and that was a gift from my professor. He works at another art school and he just gets free art supplies all the time from his classes and from like his program and from art stores and stuff for being a professor. And so he would bring it into the community college that I go to, and he was like, hey, do you guys want free stuff? And so I took like all of But he gave me this colored lead, and there's some red lead in there, which is really cool because I used to love sketching in red digitally, so it was cool to sketch in red traditionally as well. And then there's some non-photo blue lead, which he uses. He's also a professional inker for comics, so I get a lot of my inking recommendations from him. My next favorite pencil is this 0.9mm lead pencil. Just great. I think having some width variety on pencils is really great. It makes me want to just keep stuff in graphite, which I never wanted to do. I used to hate pencil illustrations, and now sometimes I let them stay in my sketchbook rather than just ink over them. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is my ink pen, and this is a dip pen, and the ink that I use with it, which I keep in this little transportable little jar, but we'll talk about that in a second. So what I use is the G-nib, which is used by almost all ink professionals, and I got all of this stuff on JetPens, meaning the nib holder, and the ink. I got all of it on jetpens.com, and so this is made by the company Nico, and then I also just got their standard nib holder. This was like $7. This was like $10 for a pack of 3, and this is really wonderful. As you can see, it works on a pressure-based thing, so you dip it in the ink, and then you can get really thin lines by keeping it like straight, and then as you press down, it splits this thing right here, and you get thicker lines. But yeah, so all of the stuff I showed you on the watercolor board, I used this pen to ink it in. And then the ink that I use, I keep in this little jar, but it is the Pilot drafting ink. And don't get this because, unless you are solely doing line work, because this is not waterproof. So I found that out the hard way, but thankfully this stuff does not bleed that much, actually. It does bleed a little bit, you can see in some spots on my board, but it's what I have, and I'm not going to buy new ink until I use all of this. So yeah, I think for not being waterproof, this thing is pretty water resilient. I will say water resilient. So yeah, so that was this side of my pencil case, which is all of the art stuff, and it's really hard to zip up because there's so much stuff in there. But the second half is all of my editing equipment, and I will consider this artistic because I make art videos, or art related videos. But I have this Lexar SSD drive I got for Christmas. I really recommend getting this if you make videos in any meaningful way, because you need storage. It's so hard storing everything on your phone or on your iPad or your computer. Get an SSD drive. It helps so much. I have this SD card holder with a bunch of different SD cards, and I have many different SD card readers. I have this Apple one to plug into my phone. I have a USB, USB-C, and a lightning cable one. This was my first one that I bought, so I made it multi-purpose. And then I have a couple more things, and then here's just the wire to plug my SSD drive into my iPad or my computer. So yeah, all of this stuff fits in here. So I love this pencil case because it just fits everything that I need it to. Next thing I'm going to talk about is my watercolor brushes, which I don't keep in this jar. I kind of just throw them into my backpack because I need this stuff for school. I actually bought new brushes. I don't use, these have not been the brushes I use all the time. Those are at my parents' house, which I need to bring over here. But these brushes, most of these are Canson brushes that I got from Amazon. I wanted nice new brushes for this acrylic ink project that I was taking on for this semester, because I didn't want my brushes to be too frayed and mess up the illustration. Next, I will talk about my watercolors. I'm still a Prang watercolor truther. Yeah, they're just my favorite. They're cheap, they're effective, their colors are beautiful. You can make them really dingy. I like really dingy colors. Like I really like desaturated colors. I don't know why, but you can see I've used these quite a bit. But yeah, if you're ever looking for like some decent watercolors, I would say use these. If I'm gonna move up, I'm gonna use tubed watercolors, but that's expensive. So I haven't made that switch yet, so I'm using Prangs. The next thing I'm gonna talk about, these are my favorite. These are the acrylic inks I've been using, and the angle is gonna be hard to get them, but these are Daler Rowney FW inks, and these were also recommended to me by my art professor, and He told me to use them because one of my favorite artists is, one second, Yoshiyuki Sadamoto. He's the Evangelion concept artist, and I have many feelings about that guy. But as an artist, he is amazing, and I love his coloring, and I was telling my professor about it because he's also a huge Evangelion fan, and he was like, oh yeah, he uses acrylic ink to color everything, so you should try that instead. And I showed him all my watercolor stuff, and he was like, you would be great at it. So that's why I got acrylic inks for this illustration class, because I want to test myself and I want to figure it out and do it. So I got the primary color pack, which has crimson, process magenta, process yellow. It has process cyan. I bought this blue separately, and then white and black. So the reason why I brought the process cyan separately, I was told to buy rowney blue rather than use the process cyan that comes in the pack, because this is kind of a truer blue to like real colors, I guess. So I don't know, so I used this blue instead of the one that came in the pack. So I think the primary color pack was about $35, and then individually these tubes are $10 each. That does not make me happy for when I've run out of them, but it's whatever. So these are really cool, and it's been really cool using them because all of the inking you see me do, or the acrylic inks, I'm hand mixing all of those colors. So I am learning a lot about color theory. If you are experienced using watercolor and you kind of know how to control that, and you trust yourself learning color theory and you know how to mix colors a bit, I would say give it a try. The medium's quite a bit different. It being acrylic ink means that it dries very fast, so you need to blend that stuff out so quick. I don't think whenever I make the video that has all the speed paints of this project in it, I don't think it will convey the amount of panic that I go through every time I screw up a color on the canvas, because I'm panicking. Like, it's so bad, but it's okay. Those inks are really good. Yeah, so while we're talking about it, this is a watercolor palette that I bought to use those inks in my class. This is the other sticker by Katokan Art, and it came with my order of the Misato sticker for free. And this is just a normal little watercolor palette. It's so much bigger than I thought, though. It's a little inconvenient to carry around, but such is the life of an art student. Everything's going to be inconvenient. The ink, as you can see, is very permanent. I actually found out that rubbing alcohol will clean this stuff off. But yeah, so this is just a good thing. I just got this on Amazon. It was just a standard. I just looked up watercolor palette and bought it. The last thing I have written down to talk about is Prismacolors, which shouldn't be like a huge thing. I'm not grabbing all of my Prismacolors, but I'll just grab a little bit of each. I have this pencil case organizer thing, and I organize all my Prismacolors by their grouping. I have 3 slots for them, so I have warm colors, cool colors, and then neutrals, which are like the white, brown, black. But yeah, just the Prismacolor colored pencils. I got these, I think my parents got me a 75 pack. I mean, I have to count them, but they got me a big pack of them when I was in about 7th grade, and they've all lasted me to this day. The only ones I've ever replaced are the red, the white, and the black. Prismacolors, they're so goated. They're very beautiful, very vibrant. I don't really use them for entire pieces, but I do like to have them just in case I need to go over my finished illustrations. I think that's really all I have to talk about, because there really isn't anything else I can think to recommend you guys that I regularly use that isn't just talking about stuff that I have that I don't use. But yeah, so again, this video is not sponsored. I was not paid to promote any of these products. These are all just things that I use, that I trust. But yeah, the only thing is that I haven't really been using these inks for as long as any of these other products. I got these in September, but I've been using them for 2 months straight, and I really like them. So, I don't know. If you're an experienced artist, some of these things might be good. If you're a newbie and you're looking for some good recommendations, I hope some of this stuff in here didn't sound too complicated. Feel free to ask me any questions you want in the comments, and I will definitely blabber about this stuff some more. Because again, I'm very passionate about knowing what you're buying and not wasting your money. So that was the video. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know any other kind of art videos you want me to make. If you're going to though, please look at the rest of my channel first, because I have a lot of people, whenever I say like, hey, what kind of videos do you want me to make? People ask for tutorials, and that's kind of not what this account's about. So, not to sound any sort of way, but that's not really what this channel's focused on. I am still cooking up the idea of the second channel though. I am trying to make little persona sprites for it, and it's really hard. So yeah, if you guys want me to talk about anything else, like I have an art book collection or other things like that, let me know. I hope you guys liked this one. I hope it was helpful. But yeah, bye!